Hi everyone, it's Christina from Dolphin Outsourcing Limited, and today I have the lovely Zara with me, and we will be discussing our guide to podcasting. So first of all, for anyone that doesn't know, what is a podcast exactly? So according to Google, a digital audio file made available on the internet for downloading to a computer or a mobile device, typically available as a series, new installments of which can be received by subscribers automatically. So that's basically the long and short of it. But yeah, so what is stopping you from creating your own podcast for your business? The main reasons that we can think of is business owners often think that it will take up a lot of time, and people feel intimidated by the technology and the process of which includes how much they think that it will cost. Some people kind of think it will cost a lot of money, they're not quite sure. They are, your main reasons for not wanting to do it. So how can podcasts benefit your business? Is basically an alternative to a video. For example, we are currently doing this live on Facebook and also on YouTube. If you're not following either of those, go ahead and follow those now. But yeah, we're doing it live, so you can see us on video. A lot of people like video, but for those that don't like video, this basically gets repurposed, and we are now creating our own podcast. It's called the Dolphin Pod, which some of you might actually be listening on now. So yeah, things get repurposed quite a lot, depending on how people like to listen to information or watch information, read information, etc.
Very true. Also, we find that people find that hearing your voice makes whatever you're saying much more personal. So it's actually helping you build a rapport with your listeners. Also, some people may find it really difficult being on camera, like I am today, and I'm shaking.
I think we all like that, aren't we? I'm definitely like that.
Yeah.
Get it over and done, and that's that.
Oh yeah, definitely. But actually, if you find it difficult to be behind a camera, you can do a podcast instead, which is audio. Also, because you've built that rapport with your listener, they're likely to then recommend your podcast or the services that you might mention in your podcast, their friends and family, who will then possibly go onto your website, as that mentioning your products and services actually in the podcast will help build curiosity. And then they'll go on to your website and research you, and then hopefully buy from you.
That's what the end result would be for everyone that has it, isn't it? So that's what the ideal solution. It does actually increase traffic generation to your website then. So once they are on your website, it's when they can find out more about you. They might follow you on socials, and you can build up that know, like, and trust that I always talk about forever. So what happens once you stop recording? Like, what else can you do with your content?
Okay, there's lots of things you can do with your content of your podcast, not just upload it to your hosting site. You can actually transcribe your entire episode, which you can then in turn upload to your website. And then someone that prefers to actually read information opposed to listening to it has access to it. It also helps with your search engine optimization on your site, and you can repurpose that transcript into smaller pieces of content for your social media. Now, another thing people do for their podcast is show notes, which is in the description of your podcast when you upload it to your hosting site. Now, show notes are an in-depth written account of what happens during the episode. And this includes timestamps from within the podcast, pointing busy listeners to a specific topic that they're interested in.
Yeah, a lot of people don't actually know about show notes, or there's so many things to a podcast that people don't realize that they can actually do. It's not just, two people talking and then uploading, and then that's it. That's often not the case of just that, and then hoping people will listen. You have to promote it. There's a lot of kind of behind the scenes work that you could be doing, and there is actually quite a lot of admin tasks. Like normally It would take anywhere around 3 hours possibly to do all the stuff like behind the scenes. So yeah, it can be quite time consuming as well. There's a lot of things that people just don't realize that they can do once it takes a lot of time to think of the content in the first place. Like, what are you going to be talking about? Who are you going to be talking about it with? Is there certain guests that you could bring along that might have that specific knowledge and that can help your audience? They can then share that with their own audience and grow that way. You want to be thinking about how you can grow your podcast as well. Like, once you've done it, don't just like run and leave it. It's almost the same as when you do a blog post. What do you do with a blog post? Do you just upload it and hope people will just read it, or do you go and repurpose it to something else and build on that and build your audience and get them coming back to read more blog posts? It's very similar in that sense that podcasting, you can repurpose it to all different types of things, and it just helps with building your brand and getting seen to more people and just a whole host of things, isn't it?
And also, have you ever thought that when you do a Facebook Live, that's where it stays, Facebook, on your Facebook page? But by actually transcribing it and turning it into a podcast, you're repurposing it and also opening up all your content to a totally new audience that you wouldn't have had in the first place, which in turn builds your social media. And potentially, if you're selling a product or service, you have more people then, again, coming around to increasing your traffic generation to your website.
Some people, believe it or not, aren't even on Facebook. So they might not see the Facebook live videos or things like that, or some of them just get missed if they are on Facebook. So by doing a podcast, it's just that extra way of making sure you are getting to those listeners, because once they've subscribed, they're there and they'll get a notification pinging up and it will say, this person's got a new podcast on. You go, oh, I'll listen to that. Or you'll listen to it a bit later on when you can. It gives them something to kind of look forward to, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah. So yeah, it's good to kind of be a bit more broad and get to those new people as well.
So where do you think you'd actually listen to a podcast? Would you listen to it at home or, on the go?
A bit of both, really. I sometimes do it whilst I'm working, depending on what I'm doing. Obviously, if it's something I've got to really concentrate on, I won't. I like to have no noise in the background at all. But if it's something, that I'm not really thinking too much about, I can listen to different ones. And there are loads of business ones out there. I listen to Mrs. Hinch at the minute. Just about her life, things like that. Have you got anything in particular you're listening to?
I'm listening to a space podcast at the moment, talking about just space in general. So about the moon landings. There's a little bit of aliens in there as well, which I quite like.
Yeah. So. That's the one you recommended to me, isn't it? I think I should.
It is, yeah. It's really good. You have to listen to it.
It sounds a bit more intellectual than the one I'm listening to. I have got other ones that are very interesting, actually. Interesting to me, maybe not so much to other people, but I've just downloaded one which I'll probably listen to afterwards about astral projection and things like that.
Wow.
Like, I'm a bit strange like that, so I like listening to things like that. And what was the other one? Like it's stuff about like meditation, spiritual stuff, and I don't know. Yeah, I'm just interested in that and the unknown, like a bit like you are with your ones. But yeah, people listen to all different things, but
they do.
Not just business ones. But yeah, if you are a business, it's good to get yourself out there. So hopefully this guide has been helpful to anyone that is thinking of starting their own podcast, is at the beginning of their podcast journey, or wants to take their podcast to the next level. If you would like any podcast admin assistance, then please get in touch with us on our usual socials, which you should know by now, or head to our website, which is www.dolphin-outsourcing.co.uk. And until next time, goodbye.
Bye.